And we're back with some more Dyson Sphere Program. And this little mini Dyson Sphere is getting going, but more importantly, I've come up with this sort of a consistency plan. Well, wait, not consistency. It's more like if you've ever seen XKCD does some comics, one of them is like, is it worth it? Like the amount of time you put into something to try and figure out, well, to make it faster, is it actually worth the time as opposed to just doing the thing without saving the time? And in this instance, I've come up with a consistency plan based entirely on smelting. And it sort of happened accidentally, and yeah, I'd already started the episode, but it was like I had to kind of go back and sort of show how I ended up with this sort of weirdness. It looks consistent, but it's just going to be a little bit weird, and I kind of have to explain why it measures the way it measures. This here is your bog standard smelting column. But do note that it's got this level 3 proliferate on it, which means it gets a 25% bonus, which is why this is 24 builds long. Normally you'd make them 30, but if you're proliferating it, you only make them 24, because the output line will fill up otherwise. Now there's things you can do. You can get higher level smelters. You can build plain smelters, which are twice as fast, which means you only need half as much. Though realistically, at that point, you'd probably just start using pile sorters to output, so you can double up the output on the line, and you'd probably use, there's research that allows you to double up the inputs as well, the outputs from the, but we're not going to worry about that. But when I did this, I was like, why don't I just make the next smelter column over, parallel with this one, and I'm able to run this proliferate all the way along. And that's what I did. So for the steel and the remaining iron plate over here. In fact, this build over here is basically the same build for all of them. One output, one input, 4 proliferates on it, goes in here. The only difference between these two and all of the rest of these one in, one out is for the steel, I basically run the iron plate from here over into this, and then once the iron plate goes in here, it gets turned into steel, and that's it. And why is... Oh, I forgot to turn that on. It doesn't matter, it gets transported one way or the other. But yes, the theory was, if that's going across in transport belts, it will supply this first, and we don't have to worry about it. Just in front of this last iron smelter is titanium. Now, exact same length, 24 smelters long. However, here's the thing.
Mineral depleted.
It requires twice as much input for this one, and it only gives half the output or something like that. So this is only going to fill half a belt, while this is going to fill the full belt. This takes 1 second to process, this takes 2. So we could make these twice as long. No. No, 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 no. You see, what we've done is, we've made all of them the exact same length. So if you look down here, this proliferate is coming down here, going across. This proliferate is coming here, going across. And since all of these are the exact same length, if at any point I want to rip this out, I can replace it with any of the iron plate or the steel or any of them. They're all equally interchangeable in the exact same space and form factor, and they all take their proliferate in the exact same way across the exact same line. They are all the exact same length. And here's the motor build. And the motor build, exact same length, exact same lineup, exact same locations. Everything fits into the exact same form factor profile. Did we need this many blue motor production facilities? Can we even support it? Who cares? It's the same form factor, same style, slots in. If we need more motors, we'll just chuck down another motor one somewhere. If we need more greens, we'll put them somewhere else. If we need more gears, any of that stuff. Over here, we got our fire ice going into graphene production. Exact same size form factor. Exact same power pole placement pretty much, well, on the edges. And that's the plan. This is not super efficient in terms of length. We could definitely make this longer, but I'm not gonna. In fact, let me show you the dumbest one. This is the Casimir crystal line. Now, one thing about these is they require 12 hydrogen per assembler. Like, they only take, what, 1 titanium crystal, 2 graphene, 12 hydrogen. This means this entire line is saturated by, well, it takes 1 full hydrogen line to saturate 10 of these machines. There's 10. And then we still have the remaining 8. There's always 18 assemblies in this build. Now what we could do is we could start using pile sorters or something like that to try and pile on more. No, no, I don't care. I'm just going to put down these, and it fits in here. We're not going to squish it up. We're not going to make it smaller. I could chop off the end, but, you know, everything fits exactly inside its bracket, even if it's a little bit of oversized. We don't care. This way, I don't have to think. I just go, hey, I need motors. I build a full-size motor production facility. If I need electromagnets, or if I need, yeah, these things over here, magnetic coils, full 18 lines of assembly machines, because it fits precisely inside the build. The build is about 90 tiles in length. So, let's just see over here. So 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90. So each one is about 90 and they sort of land on a line. That's to make sure everything lines up, and the power poles go on the lines around here. They're also 25 tiles wide, each one of them. So for these ones, let's say these have, if it has 3 inputs, 1 output, you can only fit 3 rows. If it has 1 input, 1 output, you can fit 4. Anything above 1 input, 1 output, you can only fit 3 rows across. But there's also some other weird things we've done with them. But let's go chuck one down so I can show you how it works. Oh, and this over here, this is the only smelter build that doesn't take 1 in, 1 out. Yeah, these titanium alloy ones. You know, and this also takes sulfuric acid, which we had to ship in from, well, another star system, which is kind of ridiculous. We're basically flying in the sulfur from, I want to say Alkes? Yeah, we've got an ocean of sulfuric acid there, so why not? Now, over here, we've got some templates. This is basically me going, yes, you can plop down a full-size thing here, there's nothing blocking it, there's no geothermals in the way or no anything else. So that there's one, that's another one over there, there's 2 more over here, there's a geothermal in the way here, there's a mining machine in the way here, so there's some areas we can't build in. But based on rough numbers and what I've picked up from the internet, based on this being 90 tiles in length, and you can fit 6 of these wide across the equator, and 11 times around the equator. So that means you can fit 66 of these builds, which is just, yes, 66 of these builds around the equatorial edge. That's perfect. And then up top here we can fit in less, but we can still fit them in the bands just above the equator as well. So we have plenty of room to put in this production facility. This one here is doing all of the stuff we need to churn out science. Though I should more accurately say 1,000 science and 1,000 space warpers, because we're going to need that to keep feeding this in the long term. In the short term, it can feed itself. There's plenty of resources in system. They need a few to get, say, sulfuric acid from outside the system. That's it. I think that's the only thing we're importing. But we're also using a fair few unique materials. We're using kimberlite ore. We're using organic crystals. We're using stalagmite crystals. There's about 30 million of them in system, so we're good on that front. And we're also importing the sulfuric acid, but the sulfuric acid is not necessary for any of this. The sulfuric acid is necessary for something different. You see, we're also going to try and build a little bit of everything. We're going to run a mall off all of this production as well. I figure, why not? We've got most of the basics down, so why not run a mall off it? That means we're going to need a whole bunch of other stuff. Let me try and show you. So we're going to need more diamond, prisms, some steel. Like, there's a bunch of stuff in here that doesn't actually show up under the science that we're still going to need, and we're going to be bleeding off some production, which is why we're overbuilding in a few areas. And we're making sure we can easily scale it up if we miss anything. So, yeah, let me just show you my notes. Yeah, I kind of just write this all down so I kind of know what I'm supposed to be doing, and as you can see, there's just way too much of it. I think I'm as far as titanium crystals so far. But as we've gone along, I've been blueprinting stuff out. So there's the 24 smelters, 1 input, 1 output. You get 4 rows, so it's 96. You get 96 production units in total. If you're going to do 3 inputs, 1 output, it's 72. Say there's 18 assemblers in each one of our builds. There's 10 chemical plants. We can fit in 9 oil refineries or 14 fractionators. This allows me to work out the numbers and build up the blueprint so that I don't have to keep repeat building these. Let me demonstrate. For example, right now we've just finished titanium crystal. We're moving on to titanium glass. So we need 3 inputs, 1 output. And yeah, we only need 1 of these. We're going to be doing 54 titanium glass. In fact, we only need 31. That's what the science tells us we need. But we're going to do the extra ones because, well, I'm not going to do like a partial row. We're going to do a full row. We're not going to half-arse these things. Every single one is going to be a full block so that I don't have to think about this anymore. That's the whole point. This area over here looks like a perfect setting. Just 1 second while we free up some space. I'm just going to get rid of all of these. Yeah, we can delete that. Then we grab up the blueprints, and it was 3 in, 1 out. So 3 inputs, 1 output. Done. Line it up with the edges there and plunk it down. And if you brought along a few of those defense platform thingies, yeah, this one over here, we'll put you there, we'll put you there. This can speed up the production quite rapidly, so just give it a moment while this builds out. And done. With that finished, you'll notice that it's automatically filled us with logistics, drones, and interstellar vessels, but left everything else blank, which is the way we want it. Now, titanium glass. So we need glass, titanium, and water in equal quantities. Glass, titanium, water. Damn it, where's the titanium glass? You'd think the titanium glass would be right beside the other glass, but no. It's all the way over here. Thank you, game. Alright, I'm not going to actually summon those in just yet, but since they're all equal amounts, all we do is we go glass, titanium, and water, and repeat that around. Finished. But before I call those in and start the production, we're going to pop over here. You, 1 second, we're going to raise you up just a little bit. And this is where the proliferate comes from. And we just run that all the way through. I didn't realize that you could just click on the one on the far end and it will build through all of them and still fill the lot. But, yep, there you go. Perfect. Then all we have to do is copy the build all the way along, which is just a case of clicking on one of them. I wish there was a way to do this faster. I'm sure there's some way I'm missing. But each one of these is only 18 long. Reason being is just that's the maximum amount we could fit in given the smelting size we started with. If I had to do this all over again, I might come up with a different size for it, but for now I think this works great. I'll give it a go, see how it works out, and then we can tweak them even more. Like, we could probably squeeze in more on some of them by putting power poles in between things, and there's all sorts of improvements we could do for efficiency's sake. But for now, we'll go local demand, and local demand. And actually, give me remote demand as well. Yeah, there's a water facility on another planet that's going to be chucking water over here quite shortly. And we might even put in warpers into that at some point, though there's no need for now. And that's it. It's done. We now have titanium glass done. Did not have to think too hard about that one. In fact, let's just do green circuits. Green circuits is a 3 in, 1 out as well, which means same thing right over here. And that's sort of the joy of this. No thinking required, just doing. No, yeah, I think I'm starting to run low on a few bits and bobs, so I might want to add a few of those back in. You can go over there, you can go over there. And if you hold down left click, it force builds those. Yeah, I've really made some good improvements to this since last I played. But we have gotten ourselves some top-ups over here. So if we need more, say, assembly machines, more of these logistic drones, more of the interstellar logistics vessels, all of that are here. Also in one of these, which one? This one. Transport belt, thank you very much. Inserters, yeah, I'll take 1,000 of those, thank you very much. And a whole bunch of smelters if we need them, though. I think we're done with smelters. And are you finished? Oh, yeah, that whole thing is built. And now we can just put in green circuits. It's pretty handy, you just select the green circuits, and I mean, I could make a whole design for them, and this is 2 in, 1 out. Well then, that was a mistake. Why do I have it as... Oh, I have 3 rows, not 2 in, 1 out. So where were we? Oh yes, green circuits, 2 in, 1 out. In that case, give me blueprints. 2 inputs, Mineral 1 output. Completed. In fact, this is most of the remaining ones. We'll just line that up right about there. And off we go again. Sorry, this is going to take a few seconds. Perfect. You see, the most valuable thing in this game is your time. You spend far too much doing all sorts of random stuff. Now, green circuits. We just need iron and copper for you, I believe. Yeah, iron and copper. 2 iron, 1 copper. Since it's 2 iron and 1 copper, we want the iron to be on the inside so it's a little bit closer and easier to draw. So, copper on the outside, iron on the inside, and then repeat. Then we put the proliferator goes through, everything's topped up, and then we call in the local demand. Local demand, and done. And that's it. Oh, yeah, I should probably do this as well. But as you can see, it's very quick and efficient to chuck stuff down, and it just saves so much time. As well as that, since we're not worried about getting perfect ratios, I mean, we don't need a perfect amount of everything. We might produce too much of one thing or another. You don't really care. This thing's not high power requirements. These are only Mark II sorters, so these are Mark II coming in and out. That's it. We don't care. We're not trying to make the highest throughput stuff. We're just trying to make ones that are solid, reliable, and incredibly fast to put down. That's the goal. And it seems to be working quite nicely, because that's like 2 builds done in a few minutes. Now, if you excuse me, I gotta do blue circuits and crystal silicon. And I think... yeah, we got some space over here for those. And finished. Those 2 production belts are up and running in, well, nice quick time. And then we have more space over here, which I've laid out. The only... now, if I had to do all this over again, there's some things I would probably change. For example, this line here of Proliferate Mark III, that's sort of not on the equator. The equator's over here. It was pushed to the left because, well, the smelters kind of fit in quite neatly there. And if I have to put in something that stretches all the way to the edge, it might cause problems. But, meh. I think it works, but next time I probably put proliferate right down the middle. That seems like a smarter plan. And it just branches off left or right. There's no space on the... Actually, there is some space over here, but there's not always space depending on what's there. I suppose we could landfill that. I think we need the power, though. Do we? The thing is, not all the machinery is running. I'm pretty sure we're going to top out at a few gigawatts when this kicks off. So we're probably going to need some more. Hey, and I haven't... Oh. I think I should start queuing up some more Dyson Sphere. Yeah, and I'm thinking, like, this is currently 100 rockets, 1,000 solar cells. I think I'm going to have to make that about, say, 500 rockets and 10,000 solar cells if we want to build the Dyson Sphere we're planning on building. I think that should give us a reasonable time frame for building stuff. But no, what we do now is get the science finished. See, the end game plan, get 1,000 science. Well, no, not technically game plan. Short-term plan, build 1,000 science per minute. Use that to knock out a bunch of the efficiency researches. Then we're going to build about 500 rockets per minute, 10,000 solar cells per minute, and put that around the blue giant that's at the center of the galaxy. That will give us an enormous Dyson Sphere. Then we're going to get one planet that's inside that Dyson Sphere, covered entirely in those solar collectors. Yeah, these things here. And we're going to set those to photon generation, and we're going to soak up all the photons and then ship them off the planet. We're going to take an entire planet and just harvest photons off it. Like, the entire surface of it, its only purpose will be photon generation and the shipping of those photons off the planet. Nothing else. So it wants to be covered almost entirely in those. Then we have to figure out a way to burn all that power. We'll turn all that power into antimatter, or the photons into antimatter, which we then turn into antimatter fuel cells. I've picked up a few just to play around in the background. And we're going to use those antimatter fuel cells to fuel science production on as many planets as we possibly can until we run out of power. We basically want to see if we can use an entire planet's worth of ray receivers of power and spend it before the game falls over. Well, that's assuming it can build the Dyson Sphere. I'm pretty hopeful, though. From what I've seen, the game's been far performance improved since the last time. Now, where was I? Yes, I was going to put down a bunch of plane filters, I think. That is 2 beautiful stacks of plane filters. But we have run into a problem. The Casimir crystals. The thing about them is they require a bunch of deuterium, and I haven't taken care of that yet. For reasons. Namely to do with graphene. When we produce graphene, as a byproduct we produce hydrogen. So hydrogen is actually a waste product we want to get rid of when it comes to those. Casimir crystals, however, they require hydrogen to be produced, and we don't want to start importing that in from off-planet until that stuff is burned off. So I wasn't importing any until I needed it, which we shall shortly. So let's get some deuterium production up and running as well. I think deuterium requires hydrogen also, so that should make sure we never have to worry about hydrogen again for a while, blocking up our fire ice. And do we have space over here? I think there is... No, I don't think we can fit one here. Yeah, it's too close to these advanced mining facilities. I could probably tweak that, though. Before we go any further, I'll just point out, this is the blueprint I'm using. It's a template 25 wide. It's basically 25 tiles, and it's just, well... This lets me know where everything goes, and then if I need to build a new design, I just have to figure out a way to chuck it inside this. And I'm not even trying for the super most efficient designs just yet. I'm just trying to make a design that's, well, functional and quick and easy to throw down. Because the main expenditure here is your time. It takes so much time to build stuff in this. I've been flying around, putting out fires, or, well, killing seeds, let's say, from the dark fog that's flying around the place, or hooking up mines in different locations. All of that soaks up time. So it's good to cut down on that if at all possible. Now what we have to do is figure out how we fit in a fractionator setup in here that's pretty efficient, but pretty quick to do. This is the fractionator setup I've decided upon. It's, yeah, it's pretty dumb. I have blueprinted it already, so that's fine, but let's say over here we're going to be spitting out the hydrogen. I'll wait until we've got the hydrogen before I try and explain it, because I think it'll make more sense if you can see where everything's going. However, we are... Well, I don't want to be taking hydrogen from too far away. We do have hydrogen gas giants that we can pull from, but they're many, many, many light years away. I figured there's one close by that we can go grab. I want to say it's... Telescopia? Yep, it's got a hydrogen gas giant. It is 14 light years away. That's the closest one, I believe. There's an ice giant that is 11 light years away, but that's fire ice and hydrogen. I don't think I care enough. We're still going to hook that one up, but that one's going to be namely for the fire ice to keep us going. These things are infinite supplies, so yeah. Oh, and I should probably make sure I land at the right one. And there's a hive here. Actually, the hive won't care. Yeah, we can just go straight to the gas giant. They won't bother us. Our ships can go to and from it. One moment. This new antimatter fuel as well. Quite good. It's made from sunlight, and it's been proliferated. So when we start this up, let's hit up the warp engines. We're traveling 14 light years. Eunice, That blue line at the bottom is actually still charging for a little bit until we get up to speed. Though I think there's faster speeds we can go once we get up to white research, which we're actually pretty close to doing. We're just going to do processors, nanotubes, particle containers, green storage battery. There's some more. But we've got the bulk of it done already. It's amazing how efficient it is once you know what you want and where you want it. This is going to take a while. This is one of the few things about this that I still dislike. I wish there was some way to automate this. It takes forever. I mean, they can't make everything perfect, but yeah, I do remember spending a long time going around the entire galaxy, tapping into literally every single gas giant. Maybe it's just because I'm a completionist. You know what? It's my fault, that one. You can really get up to some massive cruise speeds on one of these gas giants. We are zipping along at a hell of a pace, and you got to imagine these gas giants are an awful lot bigger than the regular planets. I wonder what kind of speeds you're technically doing. 250 meters per second. It feels a little bit faster than that. I suppose it's the proximity. Alright, let's head back home. I'm not getting involved in any fights with the robots today. Today, the only plan is to get this 1000 science up and running. It's been a while, and I've finally got a plan that seems to be working, so I'm just going to stick with it. Why can't it ever land when it's dawn? Whatever. Okay, you have warpers, you have 10 ships. We would like you to go for local demand and remote demand. Yeah, and there is the demands for hydrogen being placed. Perfect. Now we're going to have to wait a few minutes until the hydrogen gets here. In the meantime, I'm going to do the same thing on the Casimir crystals, on the grounds that, well, they're going to need it too. Yeah, you guys over here. You also have all the stuff in storage. We're going to do, remote demand on you as well. Okay, that's those two taken care of. And while I'm waiting for this to spin up, I might just chuck down another build. I've made sure that the, the proliferate can pass right through here without being used. We don't want to proliferate the hydrogen here. It's just not worth the effort. You're spending an awful lot of proliferate, and it doesn't actually, it increases the chances. I don't think it gives you more deuterium, it just increases the chances. This is just a problem you throw power at. You don't need to worry about resources on it because hydrogen's effectively infinite anyway. So proliferate's not really worthwhile on this one. But over here, I think, what was it? Processors, that was it. Well, hydrogen's coming in, but it's not coming in nearly fast enough. We might have to make a second, logistic station just to pull in hydrogen to dump into this. I don't think the 10 ships can keep up. Yeah, look at this. We're smashing it all into deuterium in no time. And we're not even maxing anything. Like, what's supposed to happen is the hydrogen comes down on this line, the bottom layer, and then it gets shunted on here and forced on top, and it stacks it. It's a pile sorter, so it stacks up to 4 high. Unfortunately, that's not what's happening, because we just don't have enough hydrogen to get the line fully saturated. Maybe if I turn off some of the other lines until it's saturated, that might work. Nah, it's fine. It'll eventually sort itself out. Probably, maybe. Or we could pull down some hydrogen here and transport it across. No, we'd have to get... No, I'm not going to... I'll come back and look at that later on. For now, it's okay, but that should get up to 7,200 a minute or something like that, I think, if it's fully maxed out. Might have actually done a little bit too much with that one. The 25 tiles of space might be too much. Alright, we'll worry about it later. For now, those processors are... Yep, that's lines wound up, and this line over here, all we have to do is pull down the resources and get it fired. And that's it. It's done. There was a lot of stuff that needed doing, but it's all finished. The planet is looking, well, the central axis is pretty much full. There's a few blank spots here and there. I think there's one right here, maybe. Well, actually, that might be the last one left. That's not the last blank spot? I think so. Ooh, actually, no, second one over here. So we've got 2 blank spots. Yeah. So 2 additions if we could have it. And plus there's some extra bands up here that we could put stuff in. For example, let's just grab a 1 in, 1 out. You see, this will fit in here. We could fit in 2 of these. We'll just have to do some work out. We might have to strip off the power poles on the edges, but yeah, we can fit them in there. I would love to do some more. I am going to do some more testing on these, just to see how we can improve efficiency and less ugliness. Like, for example, this one here. This is the only way we could fit in all of these weird miniature particle collider buildings. So all of them feed out onto the center one, but I couldn't double them up. So this is 18. We only fit 18 miniature particle colliders into this. I know that if I give myself some time and effort, I could probably squeeze in more. And this is the oil refinery setup. Yep. This must feel like the most tiniest, weirdest, patheticest oil setup, but it works, and oh my god. I forgot to filter out the hydrogen. I'm a muppet. Excellent. Much cleaner. I'm sure there's a few bugs and quirks I'll have to sort out, and I'll have to re-blueprint that one again. I haven't updated it. But by and large, it's been pretty handy. It's just been a case of hammering out the builds for some of the weirder ones. There's only been a few odd ones. In fact, I think you've seen the odd ones. The basically these miniature particle colliders with the green stuff, these the oil, and the last one is probably plastic, which is a bit odd as well. All of these are quite small, compact, and they do the job quite well. And if you just need more, you chuck down another print, and it's just so much faster and more efficient. However, we have a problem. We haven't turned on the science yet. We've got all the stuff in place to build 1,000 science. We just don't have enough power to run all of this. We're not even going to build a science on this planet. We're going to build a science on another planet. We're going to transport the raw resources, or the finished goods over there. But first thing we're going to do is increase the power production. To do that, come here, where are you? Nope, you're the wrong one. One of you has got them. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, we don't need 500 of them. Just give me 245. Thing is, if you summon in buildings, the minimum you can call in is the... Like, we're calling them in from other planets. So it brings an interstellar logistic ship, which has a carry capacity of 1,000, meaning every time you request buildings, you get 1,000 of them. It's unfortunate, but it is what it is. All right, let's start stacking this. Let's start stacking these on top of a pole and see what happens. And by pole, I mean the actual polar poles. Yeah, this is going to be a bit wonky. We're going to have to... We'll see how much we can squeeze out on the top here, and then we might have to start going to the other side as well. All I'm doing is just running these along as far as they'll go and squeeze in as many as we can around the top. So, turns out the bottom of the planet covered in the solar of these things was not enough. Also, there's a bit of a dark side there. I don't know if the rotation will get it back. Not going to worry about it. We stuck even a bunch more up here. I think we're going to redline the grid the moment we start booting this up. Reason being, most of the machines are on the downstream right now. They're not actually up and running because, well, we're not producing science. What are we looking at? Ooh, 10.8 gigawatts of power. Like, we're redlining the Dyson Sphere already. This could be tricky. Maybe I should have concentrated on building the Dyson Sphere more up a bit before I turned this on. Pity. Oh well, we're still going to turn it on anyway and see if it redlines the grid. I mean, that's half the fun. First, though, I need to go to... Where is it? Everything else. Yeah, everything else over here. We're going to pop over. And that's where we're going to actually put all the science buildings. This is just the production. The science we'll do on another planet.
Cruise mode.
Well, Dyson Sphere is looking pretty tasty. Okay, it's a tad small, but you know, it's just a weenie one to tide us over.
Warp engine deactivated.
Here we are. Now, do I need to increase the amount of cannons here, or for firing solar sails? Like, I feel like they're not shooting enough.
Flight mode.
Oh, no, it's the actual solar sail. Okay, limit this to solar sails. Got it. I might put a buffer or two here, just to make sure that we don't ever run out. 1 second. Much better. Now, the thing is, the only reason I'm putting that on now is looking back at the history. The solar sail consumption dropped off right here. So I think what happened was we just didn't have an orbit to fire them into, so they got stored up, and now that they've been stored up, the last 10 minutes we've been chucking them out at speed. But we should be getting 1,000 consistently. I went back to the planet that produces them and checked it out, and they were working just fine. And as you can see here, all the ones they've actually got are already in transit. This planet, you are going to be science, so let's go to the center and fit it into the same style of build we've been using already. We're going to stick with this 25 wide, 90 tile long approach for till death do us part. The science section was looking a little bit weird. It's so small that I was like, no, I can't just waste an entire section on it. So I managed to cram blue, red, and yellow all into one section. So the blue is looking a little bit lackluster this side. It's just a case that you can't put two interstellar logistic stations too close to each other. So 3 of them done. Though I have since encountered a problem. Our sufficiency is pretty much maxed out on this Dyson Sphere, which is a bit of a problem because we need to get some sunlight from this. We need to harvest the photons. We need to harvest the photons from this because we need those to make the final level science, the white science. It requires the first 5 sciences and an antimatter proton or whatever, or an antimatter thing. And the only way to get the antimatter is just split a photon. So we need to get our hands on a bunch of those, which means I need to make the Dyson Sphere Well, I need to speed up its production. It's not going fast enough, and the big bottleneck right now is the solar cells. The solar cells are not getting there quick enough. Ooh, I need to put down like about 400 or 500 solar cell production. Actually, no, what are we at? I think we're at 1,000? It's like 4,000 or 5,000 solar cell production just to get this done in a timely fashion. This is... I'm supposed to have this out already. Yep, there's no way I'm getting the science done this episode. I should have known. It's always the way with this game. You start playing and then you get distracted by something, and then something else, and then something else. I think what I have to do to make sure that we can finish off the science is actually build up a small solar cell production facility, say about 4,000 or 5,000 solar cells per minute. That should allow us to just finish this off a lot faster, or get ourselves up enough power that we can knock out the last of the science. I really thought this would be building a lot faster in the background. My bad. Or maybe we just... Actually, no. I didn't build the science fast enough. But I am very, very happy with the standardized design blueprint. It does make things just easier to chuck down. The efficiency is not in like having perfect ratios. The efficiency is in that it just works. You chuck down what you need and you're done. You don't have to think too hard. And the amount of blueprints you require is actually pretty minuscule. I need to tidy it up, and I'll do some, like, near the end, once I've kind of got it straighter in my head, I think I'll do a little video on it. But for now, yeah, standardization is king. Anyway, I'm going to cut this out here. I hope you enjoyed it. Good luck.